Hey everybody, Debra here. Thank you for joining me on my channel today. Recently, Robin of Creativity RV, she did a video about her love relationship with the movie and the book Nomadland. And I want to share with you today my reaction about her video. Basically, she covers two topics. Is it going to create a stigma against nomads? And is there going to be a crush of nomads on the road because of it? Like I said, I'm glad you're here on my channel with me today. If you are new to my channel, I'm glad you're here. Please hit that subscribe button and click all so that you get notified of my new videos coming up. So I first met Robin in February of 2018. And I want to say first, before I get going, Robin, welcome back to YouTube. You have been missed. So in February of 2018, when I first met Robin, it was me and Tiki and Robert and Robin were staying at an RV park in Ehrenberg, Arizona. That afternoon, Bob came by to shoot a video with Robert. Robert does his editing on his Cheap RV Living YouTube channel. And later, Bob came back and he brought Robin and he asked Robert if he could show Robin how to edit videos. Well, needless to say, she went on to have a huge channel and didn't need Robert's help. And that's a good thing because he wasn't available because we were in the middle of pulling everything out of Robert's minivan that he sold to Peaches and moving into Fancy Free together. God, that seems like a long time ago. And congratulations, Robin, on all your success. Since then, both Robin and I were blessed to be speakers at the 2019 RTR. She was the keynote speaker, and I presented a talk with Karen on traveling with disabilities. And here's a picture of me and Robin in the speaker's tent just before she went on stage. But today, let's talk about, in her words, her roller coaster of emotions that she's having over Nomadland. And I think it's important, and I want to share some of the things that came up for me when I watched Robin's video. She shared that she had never been in an RV before entering this life, and you can go to her channel to get her story. She has videos and links and offers those in a book, and she offers the links to all of that in her video descriptions. But she hit the road the same year that Jessica Bruder's book, Nomadland, came out, and it was published in 2017. By then, I had already been on the road for 2 years, since 2015, and I've been traveling with Bob Wells and some other seasoned nomads, so I think its publication struck me a little differently than it did Robin. She says that other nomads told her the books made us seem sad, desperate, weird. Well, I might go with the weird part. But she pushed it aside and didn't read it. She says she didn't even give it much more thought until she saw the movie trailer in 2020, last year. Robin shares that the movie trailer could have been a whole movie or about her life. And I think that's true for all of us nomads out here because it talks about being out in the desert and campfires with friends and at the laundromat mall. And that reminds me, I have a Nomadland behind the scenes trivia pics and clips video coming up that I thought I would already have out by now, but it's taking me a little longer to get it done than I thought. So stay tuned for that. But she goes on to share about how it shows isolated and winding roads and connecting with nomad friends. And the movie has all of that. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. And Robin says she went on then to read some of the Amazon reviews about the book. In her words, it got her a little fired up because she saw words like horror story, terrifying, a cautionary tale, sad. Again, all of those things could be true about what's in the book and even in the movie, but it fed her fear of creating a stigma against nomads. And we're going to talk about that. But she finally read the book and she loved it. And I'm so glad. Yay, Robin. And she says the writing and the research is spot on. And I think it is too. It's amazing, just like Jessica herself is. And Robin says that the more she read, the more aggravated she became, though. And that surprised me. And so I really slowed down and really paid attention to what Robin had to say, because I admire Robin and I appreciate her perspective on so many things. The book does focus on financially strapped seasonal workers forced to go on the road from one labor-intensive job to another. That is correct. And and Robin talks about how, there was low wages and high housing costs, and then the recession hit in 2008 and people had to make hard choices and a lot were forced to go out on the road. Her aggravation came from that not being the only story out here, and that a lot has changed. And that goes back to my last video that I put up, and on 4 things Nomadland got wrong. There's a lot it got right, but I shared a video about 4 things it got wrong. And so I have that video. I have this video where I'm talking about Robin's review of Nomadland, and then I'm going to have the behind the scenes trivia, pics, and clips. So I'm going to have 3 videos out about Nomadland. But I was on the set, and in the movie you can see me 4 times. I thought it was only 3, but you can actually see me 4 times, and you can see my van twice. And I got to know people, and a lot of the people are my friends, so I'm more invested in this probably than some other people, and that's why I'm doing 3 videos on it. But Robin says that she realized the book was written in 2017, which it was. It was actually published in 2017, and that everything has changed since then because of technology and, of course, the pandemic. And things have changed around seasonal work, and Robin does a beautiful job of talking about that. And she says she wanted to just reach in and grab Linda and Swanky out of the book and tell them what's out there now. And stay tuned, because in my trivia video, I'm going to share with you where a lot of the people are now and what they're doing. But even Jessica acknowledges that the story continues. It's not over. And Robin talks about how we're so lucky right now to make a living in a lot of different ways, and especially senior women. And she's written a book about that as well, too. So if you're not familiar with her, which you probably are, but hop over to her channel. So she says she recently talked to a lead recruiter from a human intelligence company that says there's 153,000 open jobs to do online from anywhere on their website, and a vast majority of the jobs are for women over 55. Well, I think that's wonderful, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But there are reasons why I think that is not necessarily available to nomad women, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But that is what has changed since the Nomadland book came out. Well, there's a lot that has changed, but technology has certainly changed, and the marketplace for working from home has certainly changed. Right or wrong, the pandemic has contributed to that as well. The book does transition, and Robin says, from seasonal workers and exploitation to joy, and it really does, and so does the movie. And even for the people in financial dire straits, but a lot of the people that watch the movie, one, if they got surprised, like I talk about in my previous video, that they might not see that, but if you look deeper, it's there. Robin talks about Jessica getting in her van and going out on the road as a nomad, and I'm going to share some trivia with you about that in my next video. And that the film captured the sense of joy that people feel on the road, and I think it did. It covered, like Robin said, Fern getting a new life, facing the challenges when first out on the road, seeing new places, and the freedom out in nature that allows us to feel. And she says, in a way that you couldn't before in Sticks and Bricks, and she speaks for herself about that. And I'm writing a book. I've been working on it for a while. I have a writing partner, Angelique Geron of writeforhealing.com. And we are in the process of writing my book about how being a nomad saved my life. And because it's true, being out here right now, there is nobody, as far as I can see and look around me, there's nobody here. And all that is out here is nature, and it is just healing for me with my brain injury, and I believe it is why I am still alive today, and I can't wait to share that with you. But Jessica's book is nonfiction. Robin makes a point that every main character, or that the main character, not every main character, the main character named Fern is surrounded by real life nomads, and that's true, and most of them are friends of mine, and it was such fun to see them on the big screen, and it has been fun talking to them and seeing what they're going through since the movie has come out. I don't, in so many ways, I don't envy them. But Robin shares too that Fern had a loss that catapulted her onto the road, as did Robin, as did I, and the same for so many. And in the movie, Fern's life doesn't look fun at all. It's cold. Robin says she doesn't know what she's doing. She goes from job to job to make ends meet. And I love what you shared, Robin, about the people that you have talked to that do seasonal work for 3 to 6 months and then get to go out and enjoy this lifestyle and not have to work the whole time. And there are a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that are out here with lots of money that don't have to do anything. And there are still many, many, many out here that do have to have work and are in dire financial straits. And Robin herself shares that, and when she had been a prisoner to her paycheck, and she hated her job. I loved my job. I loved my sticks and bricks home that I had bought. I had saved up my whole life to buy it. I loved it. It had everything on my checklist I wanted. It was on a corner. It was a 322. It had a split floor plan. It had a back patio and a big yard that I was in the process of having certified as a wildlife sanctuary. It just was everything I had ever wanted. This isn't how I had planned on living this life, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. But not all of us get that choice or that chance to live this out like we want to. And it is still better than anything I could have ever imagined. So I came out here after losing everything to medical bills and brain surgery. And I just want to say to the people that are smug, I've even seen people on forums and on Facebook pages and in comments on YouTube and everything saying, Fern had to borrow money to get her van repaired in the movie. And, anybody that lives like that shouldn't be out here. Well, good for you. I hope that life never deals you a blow to where you lose everything that you've worked your entire life for. I had worked since I was 12 because at the time you could go to work at age 14 out in California, and I passed for 14 and my mom lied. So I've been working my entire life since age 12. And I just think if you're one of those hateful people leaving comments that you don't know anything about, you might want to go back and watch the movie again and see if you can watch it with open eyes and an open heart. And Robin says that season work can be hard, but it gives some of us a real sense of control and freedom. Well, I just want to say that is an illusionary sense of control, and I think that's why she used that word, because none of us have control, and that freedom can be taken away like that. And also, she talks about how sticks and bricks can look better. It looks like it's more secure maybe and an easier life. And those in sticks and bricks can think they have it easier. But, like Robin said, some may be in debt behind those walls and barely making it. And when you read my book that's coming out, you'll know that you don't always know what's going on behind those walls either. And living out on the road isn't for everybody, but like Robin says, you can try it. You can always go back to not living life on the road, because some people do decide it's not for them. And again, stay tuned for the trivia video, and I'll share with you what some of the people in the movie are doing these days. But I want to quote what Robin on something wonderful. Her whole video was thought-provoking, and I appreciate you, Robin, and I miss you. I hope I get to see you soon. But I'm going to quote this, and so I'm going to read. She says, but it does give some of us a really cool, positive option where we get to live our lives in a way that we never imagined. And that is so true. Like I said, I had planned on doing this in retirement. And I say it all the time that a pesky little brain injury and brain surgery got in the way, and I didn't get to do it like I had planned on. And so I'm out here, maybe it was going to be by choice. This isn't by choice. I didn't plan on doing it without my retirement funds and without selling my house. And I had a graph, a pie chart. I had a spreadsheet. I had my entire life planned out, and this just wasn't how I was going to do it. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. Look at my backyard, you guys. Look at my backyard. Anyway, Robin goes on to talk about the stigma, and she says, and it's so true, there are as many stories out here as there are rigs, and there are people barely making ends meet. That there's no doubt about that. Some without seasonal work and without living in their rigs would be homeless. For me, I wouldn't be homeless. I have places to go, just like Fern was offered help. But with my brain injury, I can't go stay in a noisy house. I can't, there's so much that isn't available. And for Fern, the way it was depicted to me in the movie is she was just discovering her independence. She shared that she had stayed where she had stayed for a long time, and she shared the reasons why. And it was a sense of her finding herself. And people don't get that these are our homes, that you're asking us to leave our home. And she had already left one home, and that's how I feel. I've already lost everything. And recently, when I thought that I was going to lose my rig, I had already made arrangements to sign the title over because she was dead, and you can watch that video here. I was devastated. I was losing everything all over again. And I had that identity with Fern in the movie. Robin says that the rig is actually saving them, and they find out that they love it. And that is so true. Mine is definitely saving me. And like I said, I'll share more about that in my book, because it's not just financially, it's because of my health. I really can't do mainstream anymore. I just spent about a month hanging with friends, and they were wonderful friends that allowed me to come out when I could and be with them and do things and wear my Princess Leia headphones because I can't do noise, and then go back to my rig and seclude if I needed to. And now I'm back out in total seclusion, in miles from anybody, 3 miles from the nearest road, and I'm in heaven. Robin also makes a point that just because someone is a full-time nomad in a van or whatever they choose to live in, it doesn't mean that they're broke. She gives examples of someone owning multiple homes over here, or maybe this one over here is a graphic designer, and that some are grieving the loss of someone and traveling for 2 people. I know many out here like that. One of my patrons is new out here after having just lost her husband just 6 months ago, you guys. And she's traveling for both of them. And I'm so proud of her because it took so much courage for her to get out here. And she is not broke by any means. And, but people probably look at her and think that she might be, because she chose to buy an older rig because she knew what she wanted. And they would be very mistaken. In an interview I did with Suanne Carlson, she shares that she got on the road as a way to deal with the grief of losing her daughter. This healing that I am experiencing actually gives me back a part of my son that I lost. And I have I'm probably going, I have his picture, a framed picture. I haven't shared this before. I don't know why I'm sharing it now, but I'm going to. And it's in a drawer. And I get it out every now and then and look at it. I have a painting that he did with his hand from elementary school. It's flowers and it's hanging in my RV. But I'm getting close to being healed enough over all of that grief that I'm going to pull him out of the drawer, and I'm going to display him somewhere in the RV after I paint the interior. And so you look at people, and especially the dumbass trolls, you look at people and you think you know them, and you don't. You just don't. And I encourage you to go back and watch the movie with different eyes. Robin shares about the stigma, and she gives an example of a friend that overheard something an ER doctor said while she was in the hospital. And I got to tell you, I hear the whispers and I see the looks out here too. And that doesn't even, like I said, get into the stupid trolls sitting behind a computer that think they know everything. But here's the thing. I have decided that I am moving forward and not looking back or apologizing to anyone for anything I get to see and enjoy out here. The doctors told me I wouldn't see 2016, and yet here I am, guys, and I'm not going anywhere. I get to enjoy this. I'm so blessed. I've had a chance to become close personal friends with people that we're in different walks of life. Maybe if we were in sticks and bricks, but out here we're in the nomad community. I've met more friends and have more people in my life than I ever thought possible, and because of technology I get to stay in touch with my family and friends back home too. And you think I'm going to let naysayers or bullies or ignorant people bother me over any of that? I'm not. And especially after all that I've overcome, not a chance. So like Robin says, what I can do and what she chooses to do is keep sharing with you, showing how to do this and how we thrive and why it works for us. And that's why I've put the tag in my titles, A Day in My RV Life. I'm going to keep on doing it, and I'm going to keep sharing videos, and I'm just not going to let anybody drag me down. As far as the crush of nomads hitting the road that Robin discusses, I can only say that it has already changed so much out here from when I first got on the road in 2015. There are places closed because of overcrowding and misuse. Some of the places that I even used to go camp with Bob when I first got on the road, those aren't available anymore. And it's getting harder and harder to find places to enjoy great solitude. Anyway, I think the numbers of nomads is going to continue to grow. And that makes me even more determined to keep putting videos up and to keep it real and to continue to show people how to be good stewards of our land. This year, for the 2021 RTR virtual online class, I co-presented that with Joni on campground etiquette. And in 2017, I did a video of campground etiquette on my channel, and you can see that here. And I also, you guys, my very first video on this channel in 2016, I was camped with Bob, and he had encouraged me to start my channel just like he did Robin, and she shared that in her video. And so in 2016, I did my very first video from up the road from where I was camped with Bob, and Robert helped me shoot that, and I did it on about picking up trash. Since then, it's gotten worse, and a lot of people have done videos on trash, and I hope people will continue to educate people on what we need to do to be stewards of our land. So about the crush of nomads coming out here that Robin talked about, she shows a map of Nevada and says that there's more public land there than there is private land. And that is true if you look at the map. But I just want to say that you can't be one of the digital nomads she talks about making a living out here. Because and then access 90% of that land. So there may be 150 something thousand jobs, but there's no signal on most of that land, and you got to keep that in mind. And if you're living in a rig large enough to work in, you know, instead of having to have a laptop in your seat and curled up, you probably can't navigate the back roads to get to most of that land either. So there's public lands, and then there's public lands that is accessible to camping. That's actually two different things. It is getting more crowded out here, but I still wouldn't trade this life for anything, and I can't stress that enough. I'm so glad Robin did her review and her video about Nomadland, the book and the movie, and she shared some of her thoughts around that. She recommends both the book and the movie, and so do I. Stay tuned, like I said, for my upcoming Nomadland behind the scenes trivia, pics, and clips. And we'll see you down the road, everybody. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Coco, keep on keeping on.